After a vital 2-0 win away to Leicester, in which Mark Noble scored an absolute peach before his birthday today, West Ham welcome Man United to the London Stadium in a game where it's more comfortable for us after securing safety for another season in the Premier League. I'm joined tonight by Rich. How you doing, mate? You good?
I'm very well, thanks, mate. Great to be on again.
We've got the returning Steph. How are we doing?
Hey. Yeah, I'm all right, thanks.
Right, great to have you back. Right, talking points. Right, first of all, we'll go over a little bit of what happened against the Leicester game. Obviously, I've done the review as well, so I need to say what I said. But Rich, quick take on the events from Saturday and how relieved you must be. Same as we all are.
Massively relieved, Luke. It was just a massive result. A great away performance. The fans were absolutely spectacular again. Steph, credit to you guys. You guys were fantastic away from home, like always. And it was just a result we really needed just to confirm survival. So now we can go into the Man United game full of confidence, and we know that we can just give it our all. There's no pressure. There's no worries about going down to the trap door. We can just go to London Stadium and really throw everything at Manchester United. We've played against them before at home, and we've got some good results. So, you know what, why not? They've just lost to Brighton. They've lost to West Brom the week before. So why not? Let's go back to them and have a good old cockney knees up in the East End.
That's it. It would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, you've got a very gung-ho attitude there, Rich, and hopefully Moyes has the same on Thursday night. Steph, you were at the game against Leicester. You were part of the very rowdy crowd who obviously enjoyed their time. What was your take on it? Obviously, it's going to be a very good take, but just a bit of detail on your yeah.
Well,
go. Say.
From start to finish, it was just like watching the West Ham that we love.
Yeah.
I don't know what Moyes said to them, or maybe he didn't say anything, and Moyes actually just went and did it because they knew how important it was for us. And the fact that we're like travelling hundreds of miles around the country every week to see them and support them, I think it was just a perfect end.
Last away game of the season and that. Yeah. Now the players have apparently appreciated, and everyone around the club has appreciated what especially the away fans have done all season round, and they've finally got their their reward for it, which was safety, a good game to watch, some brilliant goal as well from Noble. Now we're talking about Moyes. Obviously, it's his former club, which is going to be a big event for him. First of all, I think we can all agree on this. I'm sure with Man United on the subject. Sir Alex Ferguson in hospital at the moment. We obviously wishing the best of recovery. Seems to be doing well so far, so hopefully that continues and he makes a full and speedy one. Best of luck with that. But obviously the guy who took over him when he retired was David Moyes. Obviously didn't have the best of careers at Old Trafford and left pretty much before he got to do a full season there. And he's apparently still under the original contract lengthwise that he was when he signed up. So that's that's pretty funny, and it goes a long way to say how good his career has been there since. But Rich, I mean, it's not all important for us anymore, but surely pride takes hold here, and you think, it's the last two home games. We've got the momentum now from the Leicester game, and everything seems to be positive around the club at the moment. Is Moyes going to jump on that? Is he going to go, right, we can stop playing this defensive football now and we can start going at it attack-wise? A few players that maybe wouldn't have played might get a chance now. I mean, do you think he's going to change his approach now that we're safe now?
I really do hope so. I think it's actually a blessing in disguise that we have Man United, because if we'd got, a dead rubber, if we'd got Leicester this week knowing that we're safe, it probably would have been a rubbish game, would have been nothing to play for. But thank God Man United are coming to town, because no matter where we are in the league, no matter the state of the season, when Man United come to the East End, the players always seem to be up for it, the fans always be up for it. So I certainly hope it's a game where Moyes goes, you know what, let's actually throw caution to the wind and let's actually have a go. Let's not sit back like he has done at home, because there's been a few games at home. You look at the Burnley game, the Newcastle game, Bournemouth game, Palace game. We've just sat back at home in games that I feel like we really could have got something from it. So I hope he goes for it. I hope he starts really attacking and he goes for at the back, and he gets the likes of Mario, Lanzini, Arnautovic, Masuaku going forward, because I thought they really had a good game against Leicester. And I honestly feel like we can trouble Man United. They're not in a good place at the moment. Mourinho is under pressure. Pogba's fallen out with them this season. So, I think it's a great time to play Man United, and I think Thursday night under the lights, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. So I hope Moyes really, really makes the most of the atmosphere and gives the fans something to be proud of, because I think the away result against Leicester was only one of a few away performances where they really treated the away fans. Other than Huddersfield and Stoke, I don't think we've done enough on the road to really give back to the fans who've spent money, so much money to go to these away games. They've paid for travel, they've been loyal, and the players haven't done enough away from home. But hopefully Moyes can really give them something to be proud of on Thursday.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I mean, Steph, if you can build on that, if you can give your own opinion on what you expect, and there we go from here with Moyes wise.
I don't like Moyes.
No.
So
you're not the only one. You're not the only one out there. No.
I just don't think that he has done enough to warrant having his contract extended, and I just want an attacking, entertaining game of football to watch. I don't like this defensive pack.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, hopefully we do see a bit more of that. But going on from attacking football and all the rest of it, we're hearing that Marko Arnautovic is a slight doubt for Thursday night, which probably, if he isn't in the team, it could halt our attacking play so much due to the amount of work rate he puts in. It's a doubt. He's not out. Don't jump on me thinking that it's going to be. No, I'm definitely saying that it is a doubt. Do you see? I mean, Stoke are now officially relegated now from the Premier League, Rich. Would you like to see a partnership possibly next season of Arnautovic and Shaqiri? Because I mean, they had a pretty good link up at Stoke when they were both there.
Yeah, I personally think Shaqiri would be a welcome acquisition for any team in the Premier League. He's been one of the shining lights for Stoke in what's been a shocking season for them. All the fans can agree at Stoke that they've been poor, but he's been one player that's put his hand up and really tried. And he scored some banging goals. He's got some great assists. I do question at times where's attitude's at and where his head's at. He can be a bit hot-headed, similar to the Arnautovic that we had when he first came to the club. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Shaqiri we would get if he did come through. But I definitely think there's enough potential and talent there to add a lot to our squad. Whether he'd come in straight away and start would be another question, because I feel like we have to do a lot more with our recruitment in the summer. The owners have got a lot of work to do to make sure that we don't have the season we had this season next season. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and bringing Shaqiri in would be one of the few chances we need to bring in. I think not just Shaqiri, we need a bolster all over the park, really. Yeah,
it's a kind of an obvious thing that we need to bolster, but obviously, like you say, to bring in the person of Shaqiri's ability, especially with apparently a reported £14 million buyout clause, it kind of comes as a no-brainer in a way. Steph, I mean, are you a fan of Shaqiri as well, or would you rather we look elsewhere for a partnership for Arnie or along them lines?
No, I am a fan of Shaqiri, but also from Stoke. Like, do we go for Butland as well as a goalkeeper? I mean, where do we want to focus on? Do we want to focus our attention on getting our goalkeeping up to standard, or do we just want to get as many goals as we can? Like, I'm up for buying everybody. Pretty much.
Would be nice.
That's got a bit of talent, just like completely revamp the whole squad, really.
Yeah.
I I think going forward, we're pretty solid. I think we have to really start building from the back. That's where our problems have been this season. I mean, to have conceded, I think, the most goals of any team in the top 4 leagues. 2 weeks ago, we conceded the most goals. So that clearly says something. Going forward, I don't think we've been too bad. I think we've scored a fair amount of goals. I think we have to really start focusing on getting a strong base at the back, whether that be getting Butland in. I know Moyes has come out and said that he wants owners to get him. Personally, I don't think he will come. I think he'll go to Liverpool or something like that. I don't think he'll play at our club. But I really think the defence is where we've got to sort out going forward, because from there, I think we've got enough in the tank to score enough goals and be an attacking threat. Maybe we could get a centre midfielder in, because Noble's not going to be here forever. But yeah, I think I agree with what Steph said. We need to start bolstering from the back, and a keeper would definitely be a start if Adrian has to go, which I would be sad if he left, for sure.
You know me, Rich. I'm a big fan of Adrian, and you bring up a good point there about building from the back and, you know, getting a good defence in. And talking of defence, a man who got a very good reception and a whole song dedicated for him to what seemed like about an hour was Ginger Pele. Good old Ginger Pele.
Legend.
Now, I would personally like to see him given a new contract, even if it's only on a part-time basis and all this and all that. Coaching-wise, has been through this. You know, we all know the kind of situation that he's in. He is apparently quite fit, but obviously there's a few question marks regarding how match fit he'll be. You know, is it a risk bringing him back so much? Do we really need to risk him in his current situation due to the fact we don't really need players back as much now? And alongside that is obviously Obiang, who is getting, you know, he's in full training now, but he's lacking match fitness as well. He's a defensive midfielder. If we're not going to bring in, say, you know, if we're going to give Collins a new contract, are we looking at anyone centre backs wise to bring in this summer? I mean, just quickly, just guys, for an idea of targets. I mean, is there any sort of defenders you'd like to bring in the summer, possibly even from Man United, a fringe player or something like that? I'll take from to Steph first of all. I mean, if Collins was to go, do you think we should bring more youth like Rice? Do you think Rice should be getting more opportunities in front of him, or should we just go and just buy someone for the sake of it?
No, we shouldn't just buy someone for the sake of it. I don't think it needs to be logically thought about. But what is happening with our academy players? Why are we not using them? Like, that's what our academy is for, to build them into professional men, professional footballers. So why not bring them in? And that poor little Hugill, he's had 20 minutes of match time, and he'll be sold, I think, at the end of this season.
Yeah, which is a shame on his part, because he hasn't really given an opportunity, and it's kind of been like we thought clearly that was a possibility that the owners thought we'd get him relegated, and he hasn't been given a chance either. But Rich, I mean, what do you think, based on the defence wise as well? I mean, do you think Rice deserves a massive shot, like to almost take the reins from, say, the Reeds and the Collins and all of it? You know, I'm pretty much, I know your answer, but if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
I think Rice has got to be a regular next season. He has to play 38 games. Touch wood, he stays fit, because he's the future of our club. He's absolutely unbelievable talent for someone who's 18 years old. Can't even imagine playing Premier League football at that age, and the experience and the composure he has, and the level head just says so much about him. Going back to Ginge, I'd give him 1 more year. Even if he doesn't play, just having him in and around the youngsters would be massive. Just that experience and almost like someone that can guide them through any tough times they go through. If we had to bring players in, I'd look at someone. If Swansea were to go down, I'd look at someone like Alfie Mawson. I think he'd be a decent acquisition at the back. And obviously, what's happening with Winston Reid, I'm not quite sure where he is at the moment. He's just been so up and down, so injury prone, which is upsetting really, because a couple of seasons ago he was one of our best centre backs in my opinion. So yeah, I think Rice has definitely got to be a regular. He's almost got to be the first name in our back four. And then Ogbonna, he's come to form the last couple of games. I think he's been decent. I worry about the situation at right back. I think Zabaleta's maybe got 1 more season in him. So we might have to look at getting someone in that right back to take over when he leaves, because I'm not sure Byram's got enough in the tank to fill his boots. But I think Rice has got to play the whole of next season. What a player!
Yeah, I mean, talking about about right backs, I quite actually like the Bauer, I think it is, from Stoke.
The Stoke right back. I completely agree. Yeah.
It's funny when you think about it, this whole thing about buying players who just got relegated. I mean, we're naming there Shaqiri, Butland, and Bauer. All three have been relegated from Stoke, and we're saying they're good players to buy, which just shows you as a collective, you don't always get relegated just because of one or two players. You get relegated because of bad management or bad team setup. Talking to the defence, we won't talk about it too long, but just getting this talking point out of the way. Adrian kept a clean sheet at the weekend and made a very good save. Didn't have too much to do, but when he did, he was there for us. Steph, I mean, Hart is obviously available as well on Thursday night. Would it be harsh to take out Adrian and replace him with Hart? Because obviously we know that Hart's coming to the end of his loan now, so he might want to make a few more appearances, before he leaves. Would you just stick with Adrian or twist?
So I absolutely stick with Adrian. Hart cocked up. And I don't think he deserves any more time in a West Ham shirt. I don't like him. I would rather, on Saturday, Hart wasn't even on the bench. It was Hart. So,
yeah, I think that was down to an illness, but even I'm not really sure about that one personally. I think there's more behind the background than that. Rich, I mean, would you stick with Adrian or would you twist? I mean, I know the answer to this already, but for sure.
Joe Hart all the way. No, I'm joking. Of course, Adrian has to stay in. Absolutely. Why change it now? It would just be stupid of Moyes to change it. Adrian had a cracking game against Leicester. Didn't have much to do, to be fair. But I think it would be ridiculous to bring Hart in now. He's coming to the end of his loan. There's no point. If Adrian was to leave, give him these last two games at least for what he's done for the club. He's been so loyal. He's loved the fans. The fans have loved him. He is actually one player that I'm proud to support West Ham because of players like Adrian. And he has to play. He absolutely has to play. It would be ridiculous for it to start. So, yeah, you know my answer, mate.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Stupid question, really, wasn't it? To be fair, we know what position West Ham are in at the minute. I mean, from now on to the game day, there could be injuries here and there, could be this and the other. But just looking at the opponents, United, I mean, they've got an FA Cup final coming up. They're kind of, got second place secured, but, Cure, a Russian teams around them, just below them. But do we think we're going to see a full strength United team Thursday night, or do you think that it's going to be a case of either pre-match warm-up for players such as Sanchez, Lukaku and everyone else? Because I don't think Lukaku was in the team at the weekend, was he, Rich? I mean, do you think they'll fully go for it themselves, or do you think they just come to go through the motions and what have you?
I think Mourinho will put up a strong side. I don't see why he wouldn't, because the FA Cup's still a while away. It's not like if he plays them, they're going to be fatigued or anything. They're Premier League footballers. They should be able to play the FA Cup final if they play on Thursday.
I think so, yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting. As you mentioned, Lukaku didn't play against Brighton, and he's been kind of throwing players around. Lingard was on the bench. Mata played. Rashford's there. Martial's on his way out. So he's not really sure of what his strongest side is. And as you said earlier, they're second in the league. That's almost stamped down. So they don't really have much to play for in the league, and that's why I'm actually really, really excited for Thursday, because I think we're actually going to really give them. I think we're going to pepper them personally. I think we're going to win the game. I'm feeling very, very positive. I'm feeling optimistic, and it's the perfect time to play Man United, in my opinion. And I hope I'm touching wood as I say this, because it's let's not discount them. They've had a decent season. They've nailed down second place. Champions League, they weren't that great, but as they've got absolutely nothing to play for now in the league. So it's really a dead rubber for them. But for us, we can really enjoy the game, express ourselves, and hopefully get 3 points.
Well, after listening to you, I really wish you were in the dressing room beforehand, because that would be a rousing speech for the players to get up for it. Steph, can you beat that? What Richard just said, or what's your opinion anyway?
I just think that we're going to go all out for it. I think the win on Saturday at Leicester, oh my God, you just should have seen how much it meant to all of those players. I know you've seen photographs, but photographs are nothing. You didn't see them. They were absolutely over the freaking moon. And it was so nice to see how much they appreciated us being there. And like Mark Noble said, that worldie of a goal was for us. So I think that they're going to, if we'd have lost, I think they would have been deflated and they wouldn't have gone for it. But because we won, they're going to be like, we can do this.
Yeah.
You know, and I really think that we're going to go and smash it.
He's hoping. I think obviously the spirit's been lifted since the weekend. I think obviously it's nice to see the players in good spirits, you know, because we want them to do well for the team. Simple as that. I mean, Arnie's reaction itself after Noble goal was enough to, you know, put a smile on anyone's face. Yeah, I know. I think you're all like that, to be fair. He was one of the fans of his reaction.
I couldn't believe it, mate. I went absolutely crazy when that goal.
Same here. I was no different.
I literally lost it. And Kuyate and Onotovich literally went, he's gone and done that. That's fucking Mark Noble. Since when does he do that? I was amazing. And for the skipper to get the goal, Mr. West Ham, was just the perfect day. And then seeing Rice grab the badge and kiss the badge, Declan Rice, have my children, you legend. I mean, that was just amazing. So happy.
It was one of those days where it sums up kind of being what a West Ham fan is, a West Ham player is that you don't always get the good stuff. It's not always a perfect day. The results don't always get you away. You don't always play that well. But you get one game where everything seems to put in place. Everything seems to go the way you want it to. And long may it continue. I mean, hopefully this is I'm not going to say nothing, not going to jinx it, but hopefully this is a start of something where, you know, we can relax a bit now. There's more and more talk of the board rebuilding for the summer. Tony Gale, for example, was on Sky today, putting his very obvious points of where West Ham should be going next season, but they were all very true, and they should already been done there anyway, and should be in full flow now. Saying this on the fans' lips, obviously now, is that more or less Moyes has done his job. Moyes has come in, whether you like him or not. The fact remains he was brought in to keep us up. We are now up. We are safe. We are playing Premier League football next season. He has done the job he was asked to do. Now, do we think that he's the man to take us forward? Probably not. And it's been, even today, and I'm not too sure if it's just to try and sell season tickets, like it has been rumoured, you know, typical, you know, naysayers. But we're being linked with Unai Emery, and I believe a couple of other kind of high-profile names. I think Tuchel was the other one as well. Probably very, very unlikely. But, I mean, probably the most natural one we've been linked with is Rafa Benitez. Rich, if Moyes is to go, which is looking more and more likely, give me 3 names and then who you think is more likely to take over from Moyes in the summer.
Well, I think
3 names.
If I had to choose a manager currently in the Premier League to take West Ham forward, it would be Eddie Howe. I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic, but he won't come because he's so loyal to Bournemouth. He still has a couple of years, unless we go and buy him out, which I don't see it happening personally. But that's one man I literally think would fit in so well because he's young, he's passionate, he's positive, he works so well with youngsters. Look at what he's done with Junior Stanislas at Bournemouth, Callum Wilson, Josh King. You know, he's turned those players into some really, really decent football. I'd love any of the above mentioned. I'd take Benitez in a heartbeat. I'd take Tuchel, but again, that's unlikely. You know, there's been rumours flying around that Pellegrini might pop in. I don't know. Mancini was linked earlier, but he's got a job. He's just been given what job? He's been given an international job, Italy job, I think.
I'm not too sure what he's been given. Actually, I did hear he was high, but I'd never looked into it. I didn't really care because, to be honest, I don't really want him in the job. I think Mancini's a bit overrated. Just my opinion and whatever. Yeah. But yeah, there's loads of names being linked. I mean, Steph. I mean, I know you don't like Moyes. Let's get out of the window anyway. Let's get out of the way. Who would you like to take over? I mean, do you like Benitez and Howe and all the rest of it? I mean, who's your choice?
My choice would have been Eddie Howe.
Right.
But yeah, Pellegrini or Benitez. Is Benitez even available?
Nah, we'd have to buy
not
out again.
Yeah, not strictly. But I think he's wavering. The reports are coming out that he's still on a contract. He's not exactly, looking forward to next season. There's no, it's all very up in the air. A bit like us, kind of, we're in the same sort of boat. And that's the point that people make with Benitez, is they say that, why would he come to West Ham when he's more or less going to be in the same boat as he is at Newcastle, with a dodgy owner who won't give him any funds, all this, that and the other. Personally, for me, just chucking my name out there, I'd like Ancelotti. Just now, I know it's a big one. I know it's a name that probably people think, oh, you're daydream, whatever. But there were massive reports at the time that he was interested in the project when he first moved from the stadium. He was interested in taking a job on, but obviously we had Bilic in charge, and since then it's all gone a bit downhill. But if we really want to move up and reach the heights that the owners say we should be, then I think why not just inquire, because he can only tell you now if you're not giving him enough money. But yeah, Steph, just on the away games and stuff like this season, what's been your, well, I want to say favourite away game, but I mean, is there, for anyone who's looking, for example, to go to more away games, because obviously we know that most people tend to go to home games and whatever, but is there kind of a more, when you go away, obviously there's less pressure, obviously being at home with the players and all that sort of stuff like that. But have you enjoyed going away? I mean, just I'm getting it now is that the players are coming out saying we love the fact that the fans are travelling away, they're giving their, their they're paying their money. Do you get a general feel? Do you get a feel that the players are more relaxed when they're away from home than they are at a London stadium?
I think the fans call together. Away days are the best days. I think away days are better than home games.
Yeah.
But I think the players can feel that the away fans are, when we go away, are more behind them.
Right. Yeah.
Like, obviously we're behind them at home games, but because there's less of us, and we just seem to outsing everybody. And it's
surprising.
It's electric, and there's like a tiny proportion of us in any stadium when we go away. But I mean, our stadium when we're at home is massive, and I don't think I've heard many of the away fans sing there either. So
that's fair enough.
I think we are the best away fans when we go away in the whole of the league.
I would not argue with that at all. So anyone listening, sold it, absolutely sold it, right? Or sold it that way. Very much where you are. Just on team wise, how would you set up then, Rich? Because obviously you agree with kind of us that now we're safe, we can go with an attacking emphasis and lots of stuff. But would you change anything about the team, or would you keep a winning team like last game, or would you just try and freshen up a little bit and try and maybe give a few players, maybe fringe players, more of an opportunity?
I personally stick with as close a lineup as possible as the one that beat Leicester. I mean, the players will be full of confidence. I don't see any huge reason to change and twist the side. Obviously, I think Carroll should play a bigger part. If it is from the bench and we are losing, bring him on earlier and let him have a real go at the United centre-backs who haven't been great this season. And I personally think Carroll would bully them off the park. I just have a question here, though, Luke. Marcus said, let me just find it quickly.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Do you think an overhaul of the defence is needed, or would a decent holding midfielder offer enough protection to the back three of Rice, Bonner and Reed? I actually think that a decent holding midfielder would go a long way to achieving that, because if we had to get someone in like William Carvalho, I think that would solve a lot of the problems. Because you look at the form of Noble and Chiarte this season, And, you know, I hate to say it, they just haven't quite been at it. You know, as much as they were great against Leicester, as much as Noble's smashed an absolute cracker, they haven't really been at it. Kyoto hasn't been himself. Noble hasn't quite been there. And I think I tend to kind of agree with Marcus in saying that if we had a decent CDM in the middle of the park, commanding the middle of the pitch, that would offer a lot more protection to our back 3 or 4 that have been really exposed this season, because maybe we haven't had that shield in the middle of the park. So that's just a different point to bring up in regards to, you know, the Man United preview and obviously going forward. Yeah,
no, that's fine. I was actually going to go to that comment a little bit later on, but I thought we covered that a bit earlier as well. So I wasn't ignoring you, Marcus. It was purely just about I didn't want to repeat anything. Repeat myself, really. There's also a comment in as well. Now this is quite controversial, but it was a point I brought up earlier on. It's from Davey G Hammer. I'm hoping I've pronounced that right. Give Moyes a new deal. He's done the job asked the board. Need to back him with some serious money, or dosh as he put, and new targets, not just staying up. I mean, is there any part of you two that wants to see Moyes back? I mean, if it's literally just let him refresh himself in the summer, no pressure on trying to stay up, you know, he'll have more, hopefully, more transfer kitty and more targets set up. I mean, go for you first, Steph, with this. I mean, yeah. Right. Okay.
He seems to have an issue with players that have been there longer than him. If he has an argument with them or they stand up for him, he doesn't like it. So he throws his toys at the pram and say, "You're not paying." Like okay, Carroll did the manly thing and said, "I'm sorry for walking down the tunnel," but I would have walked down the tunnel if I was Carroll. I'd be like, "You're putting 3 subs on at one time. You know I score goals. You're not even using me. You put bloody Mario on." So
yeah.
And also, I know he's got an issue with Hernandez from when he managed Man United. Well, I'm sorry. Be a grown up. Yeah, you can have a grudge, but you don't use it 2-3 years later and still have it. Get over it. Hernandez hasn't been given enough of a chance under Moyes. And I think it is a real shame. And I don't think he's injured. I think he just wants to go because he doesn't feel like he can be himself under Moyes.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Just talking of Carroll there before we go on this, you know, he has come out today and said it was really nice to hear the fans singing his name before, during and after he come on the pitch, which obviously shows that he is listening to the chances, he's not just whisking them away. But yeah, I mean, look, I think that every manager has to stamp his authority on a team at some level. I mean, you know, Rich, I mean, can you elaborate on what Steph just said about Moyes? I mean, you know, there's going to be obviously changes in the summer, and if he is kept on, then perhaps he'll, you know, play a different style. But would you like to see him just completely just get rid of this Hernandez hoodoo and just start playing Hernandez and maybe even Carroll up front at the same time?
I would. I do think that Moyes has to take a certain amount of credit for what he's done with Arnautovic, because Milic didn't see that, and Moyes has gone, "Arnie, you must centre forward." He's chucked him in there, and Arnie's had an absolutely incredible season. So Moyes has to take credit for that. He does. The way he's handled the Chicharito situation, though, has annoyed me more than ever. I mean, we've waited for 5-6 years for a world-class striker. We bring one in, and then he doesn't play. Personally, I'd have Hernandez over Moyes right now if I had to choose. But if Hernandez does leave and Moyes does stay on, he's got to show more ambition in the way he plays. Whether that be playing up front, changing formation, changing things around. If the owners invest in the summer and bring in players that Moyes wants, there's absolutely no excuse for him to play defensive football, park the bus football. But that's another question itself. Will the owners invest in the summer? And that's the question on all West Ham fans' lips. Personally, I'd like to see Moyes leave, Hernandez stay. in a perfect situation, love to have him stay. If we get a new manager in, we need to invest, and we need to just start playing some attacking, entertaining football, because we've got the players. We genuinely have the players in our squad to be a top 8 team, and I genuinely believe that. I'm not being fickle, not at all.
No, yeah, no.
I'm not just being a typical West Ham fan saying, oh yeah, we've won a game, now we're going to win the league. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying we've got the players. There's no excuse for us to be fighting in the relegation scrap again next season. There's absolutely no excuse.
No, that's I totally agree. By the way, viewers, just will apologise for apparent video lag we've got. I've got no idea this was going on. It's recording, not myself tonight. But yeah, apparently there's a video lag. So if you can hear us but can't see us, or vice versa, we do apologise. We are trying to get it sorted out. But as always, we try hard as we can to bring you the very best and most professional video we can. Sort of, any more talking points from you guys? I mean, Steph, how would you line up against Man United? Would you line up with a same sort of emphasis against Leicester, or would you try to go and all out attack and just try and beat Man United just for pride points, if nothing else?
Yeah, I would just go all out attacking, really. From the first whistle, just go for it. Maybe like two up front. 'Cause I just really think that the last 2 games, if we just go for it, it will put all the fans in a better. We'll have a better perception of coming back next season. We don't want to finish the 2 last games losing, because it's really deflating. Obviously, it will be deflating for the opposition fans if they lose, but I don't really care about them. I care about us.
Yeah, it was.
Moyes has a decision to make, though, because he honestly could win some fans over in his last 2 games if he actually if he played an attacking formation. He played Hernandez and Carroll together, and he actually showed some ambition. He could win a few fans over. So he'd be foolish really to go defensive against United and Everton. We've got nothing to lose now. We're up, so he's got to go for it. He has to go for it, in my opinion. If he doesn't, and he shows the same old park the bus mentality, then I think more West Ham fans are just going to get pissed off, really.
See, that can go either way, because he could, for example, go all out attacking, but then we could lose 3 or 4-0, and then everyone goes, we lost anyway. So in a way, it's kind of like a lose-lose possible win situation. But I do agree with you. I totally agree with you. I mean, the thing we keep hearing, I've read on a number of times on social media, is the owners aren't happy with Moyes now, because he's been a bit outspoken with his comments about how the club is run, about how leaks are made in the media. All very obvious, because as we know, our board are untrustworthy. They're all this, they're all that. They've been very vocal in the media when they shouldn't have been, but they are, and that's kind of something we've got to kind of live with until they leave the helm, which probably isn't going to happen another 5 years, which is lovely for us, of course, as supporters. We've got to live through all this, which kind of makes you think that even if Moyes does go, no adequate replacement will be put in place. But then obviously they are arguing that it can't be any worse, can it? So I mean, is there any points that you guys want to bring up? I mean, anything you've been thinking of since the Leicester game? Anything that helps me out, not to talk so much.
well, I would like to make a point.
Yeah.
That awful Manchester City game, where we got absolutely obliterated. I heard that Moyes said, oh, well, for Man City, we need to play 3 formations in one game. He's not played 3 different formations for the whole time he's been here since November. So he needs to take a bloody good look at himself. Excuse my French, but he needs to take a good look at himself and realise what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
Also, I wanted to say I'm a bit disappointed in Psycho's influence.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think a man of his quality, of his grit, of his passion when he played for us, why is it not being shown? Why is it not being shown?
That points question. That point. Sorry, Luke. I think that just points more fingers at Moyes. I've heard from a number of the Hammers fans that have been at games. Apparently, Pierce is the one barking instructions more than Moyes, and that says a lot in itself. So I think I know that Stuart Pearce would not stand for what happened against City. I'm sure he gave the players a rollicking, but you have to look at the manager in charge, and all fingers point to David Moyes. So if we had to get another manager in, the question that would be raised would Stuart Pearce stay on? Because a lot of the time, with new managers come in, they want to bring in their backroom staff. I personally like to have Stuart Pearce in and around the club because he's one of those hard, gritty. He was a hard, gritty player back in his time, and he wouldn't stand for any rubbish. But then, so that's just my 2 cents that I want to put in. Go for it, Steph. Sorry.
I was just going to say Dix was as well. Julian Dix.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't think he was used either. He was used properly. I don't know whether if Collins got an extended contract, whether he could have influence in a coaching role as well, because maybe, or if he doesn't get a playing contract, would he get a coaching contract? Because I think that would be a good shout as well. And if you, obviously two heads are better than one, so maybe having 2 ex-defenders, proper going for it.
Yeah. There are massive points to be made, but I think my thing on my opinion on assistants is that you never really know how much influence they have and whether that influence is beneficial, because like all fans, we have our outside opinion. We're not around the team all the time. We don't know what influence they have man to man. Football's changed a lot since Dix's days and Pearce's days, where with a lot of footballers they are work, but nowadays you kind of got a lot of mollycoddle players where they're multi-millionaires. They don't want to be told off. They want to be everyone to just pat them down and say you're doing really well, you're doing awesome. But like you say, it'd be nice to see someone like Pearce have more influence, because as fans, you want to see passion all the rest of it. Hopefully, he's apparently just been starting Dodonka recently, Pearce. So I can't see him. I can't see Stuart Pearce going out there and scouting. He's not going to have in the summer, and also for maybe a player that we might be going in for in the summer anyway. So there's loads of talking points there. I mean, Pearce is a legend in football, cult hero and all that. Hopefully, he can only improve for the team next year if he stays on, which I hope he does. It looks like he probably will do. Just going on to Man United, obviously the opponents, we've already sort of spoke about them really. That's probably my fault for us too many West Ham questions, but I'm a West Ham fan. It's a West Ham channel.
No worries.
But we're talking about attacking football and really going for it and saying sod it, we're safe now, we can let ourselves loose. But Man United do have a lot of pace in their team, especially on the wings, and you've got players like Sanchez, like Martial, like Rashford, who, if you let them, tear you a new one. They will tear you down. And yes, they lost against Brighton, but I really do kind of think they're on a beach a little bit with that game. And there was a couple of incidents where Mourinho lost his rag, especially with Rashford at one point, for not passing to Martial, not working together very well. How dangerous, how much do we need to really... I mean, for example, Sanchez might not play, so Rashford and Martial might be playing anyway, just to cover numbers. Rich, how do you combat 2 players like that? I mean, they're out of form, but as we all know, players who are out of form love playing against West Ham, because that's when they bring their form up again.
It's a difficult one, because down the right-hand side, they've got a lot of pace. If Lingard doesn't play there, they've got Rashford, who, as you've mentioned, is just blisteringly quick. But that's where Masuaku is going to, for me, hopefully nullify that threat, because he's got more pace than a lot of people give him credit for. And I think he'll have to just make sure that he does the defensive side as well as he does the attacking side, because we know how good he is going forward, beating players. If he could just work on his final ball, I think he could be a really, really, really good player for us in the future. But we just have to work. The pace is what worries me, because we spoke about it before the City game, and they obliterated us in that regard. But I think Masuaku's got a big role to play. Zabaleta is going to be up against it, but I think he's got the experience and he's been good enough this season to handle it. And you know what? If we do concede 2-3 goals, I don't mind. Let's go win 4-3. I'm in that type of mode. We won 3-2 at the Bowlen in our final game against them, and you know what? It was probably the best game I've watched, the most emotional game, and I loved it. I don't care right now if we concede. Let's just win the game. We can regroup in the summer and worry about that another time. But you know, they've got threats. They probably are going to score. But we'll outscore them. I'm feeling positive about that. So yeah, that's just
hopefully.
Positivity.
Yeah, exactly. I'm loving the positivity there. It's great. Steph, are you just as positive, or are you slightly more negative in that fact?
No, I'm positive. I'm more positive, actually. I think as long as Adrian is in goal, I think we will keep our clean sheet. I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Because he makes amazing saves, and I think with likes of Masuaku, if Arnie's playing, if Carroll gets game time, those three particularly scare the opposition. Doesn't matter whoever the opposition is, they scare them, and that's what we need to do. Just absolutely go and bulldoze the team and score as many goals as possible, but play entertaining football. As long as it's entertaining, even if we lose, but it was bloody good football, we don't care. That's the West Ham way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, as long as we've all had a good game to watch, we don't care what the score is. But obviously, we prefer it when we win.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So.
Yeah, no, that's exactly, you know, you can argue with that. I mean, like you say, Rich, I mean, we beat them in the last game at Upton Park. Last year, in my opinion, we were robbed a little bit with Figuli, in my opinion, getting unfairly sent off when, you know, we lost 2-0 and what have you, and it wasn't a great game to watch at all. I think we you know, we had a much better chance of winning that. Hopefully this year, I'd take a 3-2. I wouldn't mind doing a 3-2. You know, and possibly with Lukaku out and Sanchez out. I mean, personally, I don't know about you. Would you take Martial? Because we're in need of a winger. I mean, Antonio's going to be out. He's a bit dodgy. He's not too sure if he's going to be around too much next season. I mean, there is actually rumours that Palace are interested in him today, taking him on in the summer. So, I mean, is someone like Martial the standard of player that we should be going for? I'll go with this for you, Steph. I mean, are you a fan of Martial, or...?
I am. I just don't know if it fits.
Right.
Or if we have to, like, to have such a high profile player come to us, do we have to change the way West Ham is just to cater for one player? You know, I don't know. I mean,
the reason why I laugh is because this whole thing with Hernandez is kind of the same thing with Martial, because we should have built a team around Hernandez, and all year Anton has been crying out that Hernandez, you've been playing, starting, scoring goals. Martial is kind of, maybe not on that brink of level, because not that experience behind him, but Martial, for you, Rich, is he a player that we should be looking at?
How many beers did you have before the preview, mate?
Okay, we'll move on. No worries.
Because there's no way we'd get Martial. Of course, I'd take him in a heartbeat, but apparently he's off to Juventus in the summer because they're a Champions League club, they win titles. Of course, I'd love him to come to us, but there's more chance of Luke not looking orange than that happening. So it's
my lighting changes from review to preview to get to the gab. So you know, you never know what happens.
I love him.
Too ginger. Yeah, I mean, but that's the reason why I'm saying it is pretty for a talking point, because obviously I don't think we'll get a player of decent standard anymore because of the way the board works. But hey ho, hopefully I'm proved wrong. Hopefully that we actually do start going somewhere in the summer and start bringing better players in and start, cut up the table rather than going down. But that's the players covered, that's formations covered, that's results covered, everything. We're now coming to the end of the review, for those that are still with us. I'm pretty sure some have left by now, or maybe even some more have joined. Favourite part of the show now, guys? Predictions. Right, I'm going to go with Steph here, the newcomer. Not newcomer, actually, sorry, second comer, sorry. Sorry, no, yeah. It's been so long since you've been on. I just forgot you were just a part of this whole, newcomer, I do apologise, but right, anyway. So I'm presuming you're going to predict the win, but go for it. What's your prediction?
I'm hoping that we get a 2-1 win.
Yes.
2-1.
I like the positivity.
I'm loving that. Goal
scorers.
Yeah, I was going to say that goal scorers.
Oh.
Yeah, goal scorers.
Well, if Arnie's on, I think Arnie